To many, the road is a calling. To a select few, the road is a lifestyle. A place where they live and work as they journey through some of the most incredible landscape on Earth. Testing themselves and each other. Now, like never before, experience life inside and outside the peloton. As cycling's greatest, grant access to their inner circle, all while trying to conquer one of the most incredible races ever conceived. This is the All Access Mini-Series USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy. Technological disruption is a driving force behind humanity. In ancient times, the wheel ruled the world. In recent times, communication has been a revolution that will be televised. Modern cycling revolves around those facts. But while this may seem like a mere vehicle, it's actually a mobile command centre, linking team headquarters with multiple cars, on standby to help their riders no matter the situation. 24 hours ago, inside these cars, emotions would soon run high. As the second day of racing dawned, a familiar routine began anew. Garmin Sharp's bold riding in stage one having already shaken up the race. And Tyler Farrett is going to finish the day off for Garmin Sharp, and he's won his first stage in the Tour de France July last year. They are now the proud owners of the most coveted jerseys in cycling this week and have high hopes for the day's ride to Mount Crested Butte, where Levi Leipheimer had triumphed last year. Farrett is a sprint specialist and therefore has little expectation of wearing the race leader's jersey to the finish.
Hopefully, see if we can get the jersey off my shoulders and onto one of our other guys.
Probably cause some more chaos. Maybe a little bit different way to cause the chaos, but still cause the chaos. So I guess you'll see.
I wasn't feeling so good before I went to bed, but I feel all right now. I don't know if it'll be as explosive as it was last year with Levi riding away from everyone, but we're going to try to make that not happen.
BMC Racing Team has the horsepower to match Garmin stride for stride, and only because they chose full pursuit yesterday was the race saved for their leader, TJ Van Garderen.
It was hard. It was stressful. I mean, that group looked like it might just stick if there wasn't a lot of motivation to chase, but you know, the boys rallied well and were able to bring it back.
The teams depart for the Montrose start line. Awaiting Garmin Sharp are devoted fans and a festive atmosphere.
Okay, up here. Thank you very much.
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yeah. Yesterday was quite a stage, huh?
Yeah.
Fun time.
Thank you, Peter. Dude, know where the sign-on is? Anyone? Anyone know where the sign-on is?
Sign-on's straight to the left there.
All right.
Very to your left around it.
There is little that can subdue the good vibes heading into stage two, unless the beliefs of other teams are true. The Garmin Sharp tried to go too big, too soon. The under-23 team of Bontrager Livestrong has no illusions of keeping up with cycling's elite. Instead, they are here to develop, learn, and have a good time along the way.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Do you remember the first time someone asked you for your autograph?
I think the first time maybe was team camp 2 years ago. It's still kind of funny though. I mean, we're still so young.
Yeah.
You know, we're not like veterans of the sport or anything, so. But it's cool. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Oh, little guy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
This time, I know what you're trying to say it's time for business because it's business time. Oh!
Oh, yeah. Hand hug.
Exuberance comes easy to these young riders, regardless of the road ahead. For stage 2 will be another long day in the saddle, 99 miles wire to wire, with no guarantees of finishing up the unforgiving stage unscathed. Coming up, an extraordinary look into two of cycling's toughest moments.
Ben, he crashed. He crashed.
As the USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy, continues. Even within the tight-knit Bontrager Livestrong team, two of the under-23 riders have a uniquely humorous rapport.
You actually can't be a cyclist if you don't like coffee. Yeah. So it's pretty much a rule somewhere. I'd say if you don't drink coffee, you're not going to be a cyclist. I think one of the greatest things about Bontrager Livestrong is just like we're all so young, we have youth on our side, immature in most ways. And so we all just like, there's a really light attitude around like the team. Yeah. And so that keeps us all just, you know, having fun with the sport and like hanging around laughing when you have like older teams that have a bunch of like 35-year-olds who just sit at the dinner table and just eat in silence, and you have just arguing, just cracking up laughing over on the side. Yeah. So, you know, it keeps it exciting, keeps us on our toes.
It's so nice out.
That is pretty nice.
It's funny, actually, sometimes the worst races and memories are the ones you always look back. And I don't know why, but you kind of think that they were the greatest moments. I think it has a lot to do with kind of the management and the way they've set it up, Axel and all those guys. Like, they just did such a good job, and we're all such good friends. It's pretty sweet vibes. That's what's cool about this team. Like, I come here and I'm just so happy, you know, to be with all the guys, and it's fun.
Yeah, definitely some bromances on the team. You're just with each other so much. Like, I'm closer with my teammates than I am with my brother. It's kind of crazy.
Outside Montrose, the race gets underway, and unusually aggressive riding early splinters the field. Bontrager Livestrong's director sportif, Axel Merckx, assesses the situation.
Ryan, there's a big group behind you. Just sit up, take it easy.
Okay.
Just stay with them, okay? Just take it easy.
Lawson Craddock's pre-race comedy routine has given way to the brutal reality of being a pro cyclist.
Awesome. How's it looking?
Tired.
As the peloton sets an extraordinary tempo for the second straight day, the call comes out over the radio to Bontrager Livestrong that one of their young riders has dropped out of the race.
Unfortunately, he abandoned the race, but he felt it was time for him to stop, and you got to respect that. It's not an easy decision for any rider to make.
Abandonments are part of every race, but that doesn't make them any easier.
How's it going, Austin? Terrible. I'm not sure what it is.
We'll have to fight another day, kid. Yeah. Keep your chin up. Tough day at the office.
Right from the gun, just had absolutely no power. I'm not sure if it's the altitude or just been a long season, but just I don't think I really recovered from yesterday after a pretty tough day for me. So, you know, it's just you win some, you lose some. Yeah, it's definitely a big blow to me, and I think just the fact that we lost a guy yesterday, we're losing a guy today, it's not really ideal, but I think one thing that this team does really well is copes with the situation. So we may be down, but definitely not out.
And the breakaway is enter the interior.
Hey, let's go home and we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Okay? Smile.
It's a tough world out there, and if they don't stick with it for each other in hard times, you know, it's going to be tough. I think that's what makes a big difference, is the team spirit.
It's definitely a difficult loss, but if he's not feeling well, he's obviously not going to be able to contribute anyways. So sometimes it's better for a rider to stop when he feels it's necessary, unfortunately.
Best thing for me to do now is to head on home and just recover as much as I can, but things happen.
Oh, Lawson, he's got a little ways to go still, but I'm pretty confident that he's going to be a really strong and successful rider. He just needs to find his right path.
Frankie, what are your thoughts for like the rest of the season for me? Do you guys should call the season? Or?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think you should just get a little rest, mentally more importantly than physically.
Yeah.
And get back on the saddle.
Time heals most wounds, but for now the 20-year-old must wait for the Sagwagon as his team forges on. Further up the road, three of the riders from yesterday's breakaway, Dave Zabriskie, Vincenzo Nibali and Jens Voigt, keep the tempo at levels that will crack anyone but the world's best. Coming up, from one painful reality to another.
We have a doctor already.
Yeah, that's fine.
As the USA Pro Race of Truth presented by Exergy continues. Despite difficult crosswinds, Dave Zabriskie continues to work for the second straight day. Garmin Sharp making it clear that they would like to make an impact on every stage of this race. But Garmin Sharp isn't the only team looking to thrive in Colorado's thin air. Inside Radio Shack Nissan's lead car, veteran sport director Alain Galopin fraternizes with the opposition.
We can speak with the rider. Brian, was it difficult start?
Was a difficult start.
Former under-23 US national champion Ben King is currently fulfilling his role as domestique, shuttling water bottles to more established stars like Chris Horner. And on this day, that proves to be a dangerous mission, as gusty winds and tight quarters result in bike meeting pavement.
Oh, there's a crash at the back, and it looks as if Ben King is the rider who's gone down there. Ben King looks as if he's in a serious amount of pain there. Now, what's happening, we were starting to get a bit of organisation coming at the front end of the race, and with the crosswinds, it was forming a little echelon across the road, and everyone's scrambling to get out of the wind and into the shelter, and then all of a sudden, you touch wheels and you go down hard like this.
And Ben King here doesn't look too good at all here. I think he's in quite a bit of pain and waiting for a little bit of assistance. He's getting up. That's a good sign. A sudden move. Now he's got a new bike. He's going to try and ride that pain out.
Usually when I crash, the first thing I'm thinking of is get back on the bike, get back in the race as quick as possible. But I was pretty sure I was going to get in the car, and then the mechanic came running up with the bike, and so I got back on. And for the first little while, I was a little bit spacey.
Go to see the doctor, Ben. Huh? He doesn't want to stop. He say, I'm okay to finish the race. Ben, he crashed. Okay? No, Ben, he crashed. He crashed. He crashed. I was busy with him. Ben, it's 20 to go. You think you are able to go to the finish? No?
I finished, yeah, I finished.
Yeah, yes. You finish, huh?
I don't race though.
Well, you finish and we see with the doctor. I am not the big favorite for the finish today, but it's important to don't lose time. But this is not a good news today, that the crash of Ben Kim.
Yeah.
It's not a good news, because maybe tomorrow we are only 7.
I'm covered in road rash.
Do you mind showing it, or?
I can't really,
No,
unless
okay.
I take my pants off.
Oh, okay.
We'll keep it PG. I don't want to show you, but that's a small one. But I have a deep hole in my elbow, and they were worried about a break, but it was only 40 kilometers to the finish, so I figured get myself to the finish and reassess before tomorrow's start. But I'm pretty optimistic about starting tomorrow. It's just depends how much stress my body took and went through today, as to what I can expect out of myself tomorrow, performance-wise. It's not necessarily an easy day to sort of transition back into the race, but I'll do my best.
As those who have experienced a less brutal day than King close in on the steep slopes now of Mount Crested Butte, Garmin Sharp and Omega and BMC are working hard to close in on Vincenzo Nibali and the dangerous escape group before it's too late. Coming up on the final ascent to Mount Crested Butte, some of the world's most talented climbers battle it out head-to-head. Next on the USA Pro Race of Truth, presented by Exergy. With Mount Crested Butte plainly in sight, the breakaway finally turns against itself, with BMC Racing Team's Matthias Frank launching an attack. Stage 2 covers 99.2 miles. On this day, those last 2/10 will be the hardest, with the race finishing on an uphill climb. The peloton responds to Frank's charge, and his teammate Van Garderen makes his move. That looks very much like TJ Van Garderen to me. Just sitting on the back of the wheel there is Christian van der Velde. The one that wins gets yellow. It's as simple as that. TJ Van Garderen has never won a road race stage as a pro, a fact he hopes to change in pursuit of a larger goal.
There were really only a couple crucial stages last year. You had Aspen and then Vale Time Trial, Crested Butte. This year, there's 5 chances for GC. You have Crested Butte, Beaver Creek, Aspen, Time Trial, and Boulder. So that's 5 chances. So that's a lot of days for where you can lose the race and a lot of days that you can win the race.
Van Garderen looks over his shoulder, waiting to see if there's going to be any challenge coming from Van der Velde.
Well, Van der Velde is making his move now, and I don't think TJ can answer that, or can he? TJ is digging deep here. He's taking Christian van der Velde on, shoulder to shoulder. And as he comes up now, TJ Van Garderen becomes the next leader. He snatches the win. He pulls it out of absolutely nowhere with just on half a kilometre to go to the line.
Good ride, man. We thought you had it for 6. God, so close. Good job, man. Perfect. Good job. Good job.
How'd it go today?
Good.
I mean, a little bit too close for comfort for in second place, but I'm still happy with it. But it's just glad I didn't lose any time.
Well, you know, it went pretty well. I mean, you know, we got a couple guys out in the breakaway. I didn't actually expect a big break like that to go today, but it did. And, you know, they did their job out there, forced the other teams to chase. And then, you know, the guys positioned Christian well through town. And then Christian almost finished off the job.
I mean, considering the circumstances, I have 4 teammates, and we did the most work than anybody, so this is how it is.
Happy that I was able to not lose too much time after yesterday's race, and I don't really like this finish very much, so, but I like tomorrow a lot, so we'll be ready for tomorrow for sure.
Oh, it feels incredible. I mean, I got in this jersey a day last year and it felt incredible, and this year I'm going to try to take it till Sunday. I saw some of them kind of attacking but not really getting too far, and I felt my legs were good, so I'm like, all right, I'll go now. And I looked back and Christian was just glued to my wheel. I mean, he was like just inches from my wheel, so I kind of thought, okay, well, he's in the perfect position. He's probably going to out-sprint me, but I don't know, at this altitude, it's hard to have that really big kick, so I think he went and kind of died, and I got to put my hands in the air for the first time in almost 3 years. It's pretty special.
We have a great team all around. We don't have like someone who's really high levels, but so we're just throwing everything at them every day, you know, making things work for it. So it's creating a great race so far. I mean, I'm sure it's great to watch on TV. But sometimes not so good to race in the race, but it's fun.
As the sun sets on another challenging day, the riders have less than a dozen hours before the dawn of the race's toughest stage. Beginning in Gunnison, Stage 3, presented by New Belgium, is once again the race's Queen stage. The riders climb over 4,000 feet to Cottonwood Pass with a thrilling descent into Buena Vista and a 5,000-foot climb up Independence Pass, finishing with another fast descent into Aspen. As it departs the classic western town of Gunnison, the peloton heads towards skyscraping mountains for a 131-mile day that is as difficult as any cycling stage in the world.
I've never actually personally raced at the kind of altitudes that we go up to. I think racing at 12,000 feet is something pretty special, and it's brutal for everyone. No matter who you are, you're going to suffer like a dog.
When someone calls a Queen stage, it must be pretty hard. Hopefully the weather is going to be better, because really descending on a wet road isn't really fun.
The 14-mile dirt climb to the summit of 12,126-foot Cottonwood Pass is the highest of the entire week, and is followed up by another monster in the 12,000-foot summit of famed Independence Pass.
You know, we go over 2 climbs over 12,000 feet. One of them is dirt, and which I love. I love to ride on dirt, and I think it always adds some cool flavor to the race.
In Europe, there's nothing like that. 2 big passes that go that high in altitude. I mean, it's just unheard of.
Besides the fact that you're semi-delirious from the altitude and lack of oxygen, you also have massive crowds on the edge of the course just screaming their heads off, and 200 guys jockeying for position and, you know, swerving in and out of the lines.
Following Independence will be a wild descent into Aspen. To witness unseen images and learn the inside story from every stage, including exclusive in-car footage, pre- and post-race interviews, and much more, make sure to tune in every day this week at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to catch every episode of USA Pro Race of Truth. Next, the Stage 3 of the USA Pro Challenge begins live on the NBC Sports Network. TJ Van Garderen showed his true climbing ability yesterday to Mount Crested Butte. He won the Exedy Leaders Yellow Jersey, but his time gains over Christian van der Velde, absolutely nothing. They are equal on time. There's a third problem as well. Levi Leipheimer is the defending champion, and he sits in 4th. It's next. Yesterday saw a breakaway vie for new leadership in the USA Pro Challenge. But as the final climb of Crested Butte imploded the leaders, it was American sensation TJ Van Garderen who took on the veteran Christian van der Velde at the finish. TJ Van Garderen becomes the next leader of the USA Pro Challenge. Van Garderen now stands as the Exedy race leader, but with van der Velde 0 seconds behind. Today's high passes to Aspen will prove critical. Stage 3 begins next. USA Pro Challenge presented by Exedy, and today the riders really do go mountaineering as they'll top out the high passes of Colorado, higher than any other bicycle race in the world. This is a third stage as we go now to Aspen, brought to you by New Belgian beer. It all starts from Gunnison, where the riders have come down from Mount Crested Butte yesterday. We'll go off to the Western State Colorado University, and then already taking part down the finishing line in Aspen is a women's race. The road will be clear, though, for when the riders come in off the height of the Independence Pass. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our live coverage of the USA Pro Challenge. I'm Phil Liggett. Alongside me is Paul Showing. Paul, 2 mountains more than 12,000 feet high.
You know, this has been a very hard race so far, but in Spanish, this is what they call L'Etapa Reina, the Queen of Stages, the most difficult stage of the US Pro Challenge this year. 2 times going over 12,000 feet is almost unheard of. We've already only gone over one. In fact, Tommy Danielson, in fact, has extended his lead in the King of the Mountains classification, but he's actually trying to get the lead back in this race overall.
All right, well, there is a break on as we speak to you, but let's first of all remind ourselves of the United Healthcare overall standings this morning. TJ Van Garderen, the winner yesterday, locked equal on time with Christian van der Velde. Ivan Rovny of Russia is in third place, but only 6 back. Levi Leipheimer, last year's winner, 4th, and 5th place is Ramiro Rincon. Let's have a look then at the Evolve Beverages map. It is an absolute brute. As Paula said, we've already topped out on the Cottonwood Pass climb, but we've still got the Independence Pass to come.
I tell you what, Phil, if I was a bike rider, I would not want to see this profile today. Just look at this, the first big climb of the day. They've already gone over 12,126 feet down into the valley through Buena Vista. Then the final climb of the day, Independence Pass. That's where the action is all going to happen, or maybe it will happen on the downhill into Aspen.
These are the Colorado Tourism stage facts. It's a long way, the longest stage of 130.6 miles so far. The 2 sprint points are behind us. There's a breakaway on. Cottonwood Pass is behind us. Independence Pass is now dead ahead of the race. This is the only repeat stage from last year's inaugural USA Pro Challenge. And now we can pick up the race here. Ahead of them is the Independence Pass. These are the men who are heading up the front of the race. Tommy Danielson, Francisco Colorado, Jeff Lauder and Dave Zabriskie. And a little bit behind them, we have a chase of 2 riders, Michael Friedman and Fabio Aru. Now, very quickly to tell you what happened, Tom Danielson here joined a front group of 18 riders on the climb of Cottonwood Pass. And that was a terrific ride by him. And he's blown the breakaway apart. He's making a bid now to try and win the Tour, Paul.
No, he certainly has. It's a very difficult stage today. This is where we've been in the red. You can see we went over the top of Cottonwood Pass, and it was on those slopes, on the unpaved roads, that Tommy Danielson in second position rode across to that leading gap. They're now starting to line themselves up, Phil, for the final climb of the day, and that will be Independence Pass.
Well, there's the yellow jersey now proudly being worn by TJ Van Garderen. He's looked very strong. His team have really looked after him today. They've been setting all of the pace. The only man to slip their clutches of importance is Tom Danielson. And what a ride the man from Boulder, Colorado did to cross the gap of a minute to the leaders on his own. And now it's caused a lot of consternation back in the field. The 2 riders on the front looking to help now TJ Van Garderen repair the damage as they get onto the lower slopes of Independence Pass.
Yeah, that's Michael Shah and George Hincapie doing most of the pacemaking there for the man who wears the yellow jersey. This rider, you could say he's in second place overall, but I'd like to say he's tied for first because he's in exactly the same time as the overall leader, TJ Van Garderen. He is hoping that his teammates in the breakaway ahead will start to put a lot of pressure onto Team BMC Racing. That's the reason why Tommy Danielson and Dave Zabriskie are in that breakaway this afternoon. And then if there's a sign of faltering by TJ Van Garderen, Van der Velde there that we're looking at in the Garmin jersey will try and take advantage of it.
Well, this is the main peloton here chasing up. But let's now join Steve Perino inside the race.
Phil, I'll tell you what, as soon as we turned out of Buena Vista, started heading up the mountain, you could feel the head. When I talked to a rider that just came down to Independence, he had quite a tailwind. So these guys here working awfully hard. In fact, all day long, it seems like Dave Zabriskie is the man punching it into the wind. I don't know what he had for breakfast, so something tells me we're going to find out.
Absolutely. Well, this is the 3rd day straight, Paul, that Dave Zabriskie, he's number 17 in the breakaway if you catch him, has been in the leading move of the day.
It's also the 3rd straight day that we had multiple riders from Team Garmin Sharp in the breakaway. They really want to blow this race apart. Chris Horner, I can never tell when I'm looking at Chris Horner. He's the rider in the jersey there with Leopard written down the side. I can never tell, Phil, whether he's snarling or whether he's actually smiling.
He always seems to be enjoying himself, that's for sure. The far side is Nathan Haas, the Australian rider on the Garmin Sharp team. He was in the breakaway of 18 earlier today, but he dropped back on the climb of the Cottonwood Pass. There's a lot of people, we believe, on Independence Pass. There was a great crowd on the top of Cottonwood, which many of you will know is the highest pass in Colorado. Unmade roads on one side, they descended on good tarmac. These are the 4 leaders. This is a very serious move, but what Danielson has done already is conserve his lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains competition. There's the peloton, and the weather is a nice 71 degrees, a perfect temperature to go mountain climbing. Little bit worried about the weather closing in. Forecasting showers, but when they do come, they're very heavy showers, and as you can see, there's a lot of cloud rolling around.
Three career Tour de France stage wins for Jens Voigt, and just the other day Team Radio Shack and Nissan have in fact announced that this man is going to race again for another year. He's also been very, very aggressive since the start. I think today he'll be turning the books around a little bit to try and help Chris Horner move a little higher in the overall standings, but it's all been trying to put pressure onto the Team BMC Racing, the team of the man who leads this race, TJ Van Garderen.
Yeah, I think that's right, and for that reason Jens Voigt was not in that early move of 18 riders, which have since all apart from the 4 leaders are back in the main field now. Just moving up there to give a helping hand was Ivan Santoromita, the Italian on the BMC team of TJ Van Garderen. As we go forward now, this is Jeff Lauder.
Well, Jeff Lauder tried a little move earlier on, and that had put pressure on the breakaway. It's now been reduced down to just 4 remaining riders. There's 2 riders halfway across the gap. Very shortly, I think they will get caught by the main field. 30 miles an hour, well, that's the speed limit in this part of the world, and I'll tell you that the race has actually been approaching that. It's an average speed so far of 26.5 miles an hour. And when you put it into perspective, Phil, and you look at the profile, it is incredible.
It's been the story of the week, hasn't it? These boys have been flying through the roads of Colorado, and today is no exception. You would have thought with these 2 over 12,000-foot mountains to cross that they would have shown a little bit more respect, but the contrary has happened. The breakaway being pushed on again by Dave Zabriskie, because the man he was waiting for to come up was Tom Danielson, and Tom Danielson did come up to them on the climb of the Cottonwood Pass, and that's his job now, is to try and hold off the main field. It's going to be a tough call. The Independence Pass is a long, hard climb, and then we will fly off the top of that mountain down into the finish in Aspen. So as we watch now, and there's obviously cause for concern, because all of Team BMC have now got to the front of that race to try and bring TJ Van Garderen back into this race. There's the sign, Aspen, 38 miles, but there's just a little matter that first of all they have to cross the climb of the Independence Pass. So as we rejoin the action here now, there's still a long way to climb on the Independence Pass. This is Francisco Colorado, who's done the best to block Tom Danielson on the climbs in favour of his teammate Casablanca, who after the climb of Taylor Park earlier today, Casablanca won the 8 points there. He became the leader on the road in the King of the Mountains, sponsored by Nissan. It all changed once Danielson arrived at the front. Danielson went over the Cottonwood Pass in 2nd place. The peloton now clearly concerned about this move, Paul.
They've very much pegged it all throughout the day, Phil. The breakaway got away very early on at the start of the race with a very fast start, but they never allowed it to get very much more than 3 minutes, and all of the pacemaking has been done by Team BMC Racing. And if one team in this race can control the breakaway group, it is Team BMC. They have brought one of their best teams here to the US Pro Challenge this year.
So these 4 riders in the lead here were heading up the Independence Pass, and great news for the riders. We come back up the other side tomorrow as they leave Aspen, bound for Beaver Creek. So it's a double dose this time around. But this is a move now, and BMC really know this. They're on the very low slopes of this climb, which takes us back up to just over 12,000 feet before the plunge down into the finishing line. Now, if you're enjoying this race with us last year, you will remember that we couldn't bring you pictures in the past because of the rainstorm up there, and we're getting a little bit of picture interference at the moment, but we're very happy to say we are holding the pictures right now. So there we are, Team BMC setting the pace at the front, and having to really drive this because Tom Danielson, he's a very inspired man in this race.
Well, I think one of the reasons, Phil, for him riding like this and for the whole of his team, Garmin Sharp, to ride like this is he knows he needs to get a little bit of an advantage before the final time trial when we go down into Denver if he wants to beat TJ Van Garderen. We saw at the Tour de France this year that TJ Van Garderen is a very good time trialist. He finished 5th overall and was the best young rider. But Tommy D, as we call Tom Danielson, used to live in Durango, now lives in Boulder, Colorado. He really dearly wants to win this race here in Colorado because his team is also based here as well.
Well, the whole team now, and they've got a full squad in the team at the moment, still riding this race. There's been at least 4 riders abandon the race today, though, because of the pressure of the early climbs of both the Taylor Mountain and also the Cottonwood Pass. Now, what's happened to Dave Zabriskie here? I think the legs have gone. I think the legs have gone.
He's given everything that he could throughout the whole of this stage. He's the man who's been driving all along the flat roads. Once we went over the top of Cottonwood Pass, all along the valley, this man has given his all. And when the lights go out, this is what happens. The sad thing is, Phil, he's still got to get his body over the top of this climb.
And there's an awful long way to go. It's a freewheel down. I can tell you, we're going to see a lot of people on top of this climb. They were very worried about the number of people going up there today. They haven't allowed camping on the summit overnight, so they've all had to travel up there today, but there will be a big crowd. They're expecting this to be the queen stage of the race, because I don't know of any other cycle race in the world that goes out over 12,000 feet.
Well, not on the international circuit. The only races that could go to that level of altitude would have to be in Colombia. As it happens, we're looking at a Colombian here, number 153, whose name is Colorado, by the way, which is rather strange because this is where we are.
Absolutely fitting to be called Francisco Colorado when you're riding a race what is indeed a veritable tour of this magnificent state. He's willing to work here as well to keep this breakaway away, because he himself will move up high in the overall classification if it is to be successful. But it looks like Team BMC under pressure now to try and bring that back. All right, well, let's show you a little bit of what's happened during the day today. It's been a pretty interesting day, and it's got off to a very, very quick start. It was down from Mount Crested Butte and in to the signing on for the Smashburger sign-in here in Gunnison. And George Hincapie signing in before we headed out to the first sprint of the day at Almont. Just under 10 miles of racing done here. And Jess Anthony, Kiel Reinen, Sergei Vetkov, they were the leaders there in a front group of some 18 riders. But then they came to the unmade roads, first of all of Taylor Park, and then of the Cottonwood Pass. Peloton, concerned by the moves that were coming, were all escorting TJ Van Garderen, the man in the Exeter yellow jersey, for the first time today.
Well, this is a big squad there. You can see that the yellow jersey was firmly on the shoulders of TJ Van Garderen. When we got to the Taylor Peak climb at 30 miles covered, well, the man trying to get the points there was Castiblanco, and he got 8 points. And at that point, it meant that he'd actually taken the lead away from Tom Danielson.
But then it was different at the top of Cottonwood Pass, because Francisco Colorado, his teammate, took the 12 points on purpose, out-sprinted Tom Danielson, who had now hit the front group and got rid of Castiblanca. Onwards into Buena Vista, 68 miles done. Zabriskie, Lauda, Danielson over the waste management sprint, but it wasn't a sprint at all. They were now trying to get rid of the main field. The breakaway was strengthening after the climb of the pass, as they were now into the Honey Stinger feed zone, and they were packing their pockets. About 6 riders in the group left there at the moment, but now we are down to just 3 men here. Colorado on the front. Then we have Tom Danielson in the red and Nissan King of the Mountains jersey, and Jeff Lauda doing a terrific ride, the American Jeff Lauda on United Healthcare. He finished 12th overall in this race last year. So now all that remains for these 3 riders is the long climb of the Independence Pass. If they have a lead of a couple of minutes at the top of this climb, I don't think they'll get caught on the way down. Mind you, I think I said that yesterday, and they all got caught 500 meters out. Well, let's have a look then at the United Healthcare race leaders at the start of the day. New man in yellow for Exegy, TJ Van Garderen. In the waste management points competition, Tyler Farrar. In the Nissan King of the Mountains, it is Tom Danielson. And then the Aqua Draw to young riders, that's Joe Dabrowski rather. And then the most aggressive rider, which is brought to us by Beverages there, and that was Rafael Infantino by Evolve Beverages. Now, in the moments ago, we've just got rid of Jeff Lauda. These 2 riders have formed at the front. Jeff Lauda has been dropped on this climb. They're on the very low slopes of Independence Pass. And it looks as though these two boys, Paul, are striking out and hoping they can get first and second at the finish.
Well, I've got to tell you, Phil, this, if Tommy Danielson can pull this off, this will be one of the epic moves we've seen so far this season, because going out on the breakaway on the first climb of the day, Cottonwood Pass, riding across the gap that at that time was around about 2 minutes, joining the 18-man break and hoping to survive over Independent is absolutely amazing. There you can see the Exergy leaders jersey on the shoulders of TJ Van Garderen. He's not panicking at all there, Phil. He's sitting just at the back of all of his teammates with the yellow jersey firmly on his shoulders for the moment.
So TJ Van Garderen there in that Exeter yellow jersey at the start this morning. Bob Roll had a chat with him.
TJ, fantastic stage win yesterday up to Crested Butte. Was that a plan, or were you reacting to the tactics spontaneously?
I was just kind of reacting to the tactics. I mean, we had a guy in the break who was sitting good and looking really strong, so we didn't have a whole lot to do all day. We were able to just sit in, save energy, and then, yeah, it wasn't until the last 20K that we really started to line it up and tried to go for it.
You inherited the leader's yellow jersey. 4 more tough days before the time trial. What's the team plan to try to defend that?
Well, I think, you know, on paper we have the strongest team in the race, so I think we shouldn't have any problems. As far as the team goes, I think I just need to be able to follow Van de Velde and Leipheimer and Robney and all those guys, because the time's really close. Christian and I are sitting on the same time, so it's really just going to be about trying not to lose it, and then hopefully I can gain some of the TT.
We had a great result last year in the stage into Aspen in this race. Does that give you some good morale for today's stage?
Absolutely. I mean, George and I took 1-2 on the stage. I took the yellow jersey that day, and yeah, we got my wife's putting on the women's race that today, the Blue Ribbon Alpine Challenge, so definitely got some big ties to Aspen. It adds a lot of motivation.
Will Monzo be there?
Monzo will be there, yeah.
Okay, TJ, best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, the one name he didn't mention there, did he, was Tom Danielson, Paul, and Tom Danielson has slipped the noose and is up in that leading duo.
Yeah, they've already just lost a rider, by the way, BMC Racing, because one rider slipping away was Santa Marita, a very good, strong rider on their squad. This is all about, I think, Phil, just weakening the BMC Racing team.
Well, just take a look at this. We've gone over the highest pass in the state of Colorado this morning, the Cottonwood Pass. Now we're seeing the beauty surrounding this area. By the way, you may be, for many of you that don't live in Colorado, interested to know the police today had to chase away 2 black bears that were not very far away from the finishing line here in the center of Aspen. They have to get them out the trees and move them on.
As you looked at that little river down there, by the way, it's a point to remember that we've just gone over the Continental Divide, and now all of the rivers on this side of the passes, in fact, drain down towards the Pacific Ocean.
That's right. The other side, they scoot off over to the Atlantic. And this very diverse state. Zabriskie is now back in this group, having been out front. He's checked out his big rival there in yellow, TJ Van Garderen. They know that Tommy Danielson is still very much up the road. The latest gap we are getting directly from the race is the gap has gone up to 3 minutes now for Tommy Danielson and Francisco Colorado. And as you say, Paul, that's a wonderful name for a man riding in what is the veritable Tour of Colorado. So these are the 2 leaders here as they continue, and he's found a good ally here, I think. Colorado, the Colombian, willing to work with Tommy Danielson. He's from Boulder, Colorado, and formerly of Durango, where this race began at the beginning of the week. And I have to say, remember the day 1, Danielson played a big part in the event into Telluride. Wiped out only 3 miles from the finish of that stage, but for a long time it looked like he pulled off one of the coup of the race in the first day of the opening week. But now he's at it again. We were expecting to lie low a little bit before we got down to Boulder, but he's gone early today, and such effort he had to use to reach the leaders on his own, and he's blown them all away bar 1. We'll take a break. Beginning May 1st, 2012, an ordinance banning plastic bags went into effect in the city of Aspen. Visitors and locals alike are encouraged now to always bring and use their reusable bags at Aspen grocery stores. Back with the action here now. This is the main peloton. The last time check we got was 3 minutes behind this breakaway of Tom Danielson and Francisco Colorado. If those riders maintain this gap, they will be sitting first and second overall in the race when we get down into Aspen. The gap has even nudged up 5 more seconds now. It's causing a lot of consternation for Team BMC as they now try to close the gap. They're shedding their riders here under their effort as well, because we have lost Ivan Santamarita. He was dropped about 10 minutes ago from the front of this group. Well, let's check in with Steve Perino inside the race.
Guys, right now the good news for the break, that headwind not too bad, but as we start to gain an elevation here, what we noticed going over Cottonwood dropped about a degree every 150 feet. So by the time these guys get to the top, it's going to be at about mid-50s is my guess. Obviously, they're going to go up another 2,600 feet. Talked to the team doctor this morning from Garmin. He said one of the unfair things about altitude is that it has the worst effect the fitter you are. How unfair is that? For what it's worth, guys, I feel fine.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I have to tell you, these two boys already at this point have climbed a vertical elevation today of 8,647 feet. This, remember, is a long, long day of racing. It's just short of 131 miles in total, and we have these two 12,000-foot passes. We're over one, we're on the slopes of the other now, and it's all Team BMC to try and control this race in favour of the rider in the Exeter yellow jersey, their teammate TJ Van Garderen, who, by the way, was placed on the podium here when we finished here last time in the event down in Aspen. Now let's check in with our friends at Nissan, innovations that excite, for more on the 100% electric Nissan Leaf.
Welcome to Nissan here at the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. My name is Karina Marquez. I am a Nissan product specialist, and this is the Nissan Leaf. It's 100% electric. It uses zero gas. There's no fuel tank. There's no tailpipe. It's very great on the environment. Well, the Nissan Leaf performs fantastically here at high altitudes. Because it's not an internal combustion engine, the motor is not affected by the altitude. I bet some of these riders would love that. Some of the initial reactions consumers have with the Nissan Leaf, they're blown away that they can fit 3 kids in the back or even 3 grown-ups. They love how the user interface is so friendly and easy to use, and we've children in here who've already mastered the nav system just a few minutes. It's phenomenal. Also, we will be at every single stage of the race, so come find us at the finish line, get inside the Nissan Leaf, and try it out for yourself.
Electric Nissan Leaf, innovation that excites as we rejoin the leaders here now. The serious face of Tom Danielson, thinking maybe of what could be if he can stay clear now to the finishing line in Aspen. Well, the pair of them, Paul, it's an unlikely alliance, isn't it, these two, but they decided to work together. Earlier on, of course, Colorado was up here purely to protect his King of the Mountains leader at Castelblanca, but that's gone now. Danielson's back in this leader's jersey, and Colorado has clearly decided to go with him because Colorado's only 21 seconds off the overall. Danielson's 12 seconds off. Clearly, if they win with this sort of a gap, they'll be first and second in Aspen.
Well, there's a long way to go, Phil. 48 kilometers of racing. That's just inside of 30 miles of racing. Well, Francisco Colorado in second position in the white jersey. He's from the town of San Rafael in Antioquia, and it's Antioquia is the town that's brought together the sponsorship of this team. All the big climbs behind us. Now there's only one left to go. All the red you can see there has been covered, and now we're starting to climb up to the high spot, and that's what it's like. And I tell you what, it's a very, very rapid descent. The riders have said that on some parts of the descent you can approach 110 kilometers an hour, which is 70 miles an hour downhill.
Yeah, they'll come flying into Aspen. They need drogue chutes, I think, to stop after they've crossed the finishing line as they come off Independence Pass, and a lot of cyclists riding up the pass from town this morning, and we will see there are thousands of people on top of the pass today. Interesting fact, because of course here in Colorado this is a wild state, and this morning before the start the police service here had to chase a couple of black bears away from the finishing line. Thankfully they've gone back into the woods.
They've had a lot of problems over the last couple of weeks in Aspen. In fact, the police sent out notices to all of the teams asking the teams not to leave any food in the cars overnight because the bears have been coming into town foraging, looking for food.
We saw our first one yesterday evening as we drove over from Mount Crested Butte to the finishing line in Aspen. And he was out happily around a homestead, somewhere in the mountains. The mountains here are simply stunningly beautiful. Many of them are unmade roads, and some of them are only narrow trails accessed by four-wheel drive vehicles. But today, at least Independence Pass has a beautiful surface on it as we top out at 12,000 feet. So we're looking here at the field here. The team car's pretty busy at the back here now. Nobody helping, of course, Team BMC. They're just watching and waiting to see how this race develops. Now, when we were climbing the Independence Pass earlier, we were losing riders. Let's find out what it's like, though, at the top of the pass, because that's where Bob Roll is.
The bond between athlete and fan is no closer in any other sport in the world than professional bike racing. If you could imagine thousands of fans on the 50-yard line of the Super Bowl, you'd get an idea of what it's like here at the top of Independence Pass. Are you guys ready for some bike racing?
Oh, well done, Bob. Obviously, you didn't ride up there, but you look fit enough as though you could have done. And that's only a small portion of the people who are waiting on top of the pass at 12,000 plus feet above sea level. So far today, the rides have just gone through 8,850 feet of actual climbing on today's stage. So as the two rides continue to the top, let me remind you, every weekday morning, wake up and turn on the lights. Get all your sports in half the time with an all-new show that lets the highlights do the talking. The Lights, weekday mornings on the NBC Sports Network. They cut a very lonely trail down there from our helicopter, don't they? And what a ride Tommy Danielson did to reach the leaders of 18. Now there's only one left with him, and frankly, he needs Francisco Colorado with him now. There is still a long way to go to the finish and plenty of climbing ahead. Welcome back. It's stage 3 today of the USA Pro Challenge. It's Gunnison to Aspen, brought to you by New Belgium Beer. And I'll tell you, this is a long day, 131 miles as we make our way. We've done the Cottonwood Pass. We're now heading on the slopes of the Independence climb. Two passes will top out over 12,000 feet. Two men have dominated the climb so far. Towards the end of the day, this is Tom Danielson, 12 seconds off the yellow jersey of TJ Van Garderen. With him, aptly named Francisco Colorado, a Colombian who is only 21 seconds off the yellow jersey of Van Garderen. They're working pretty well together here now. They are all that is left of an original breakaway of 18 riders. But whenever we pick up these pictures, and our Radio Shack tracker is showing you Danielson there, it's always the man from Boulder, Colorado, it seems at the moment, who is at the front setting the pace. There's Levi Leipheimer, wearing one as last year's champion of this event, now scurrying up towards the head of the race here. Team BMC have been doing all of the chasing with help from no one. Seem to be slowing down a little bit. They've lost one or two of their riders, and I see George Hincapie too there's dropped to the back as well. There's only a couple of them on the back there. Anyway, let's find out more on the riders' telemetry from yesterday's stage to Mount Crested Butte. So we'll tell you more about that in a moment as we continue now to go back to the two leaders here. And the gap is still creeping up a little bit. Well, actually, it's just showing his first reverse. It was 3:05. It's down to 2:50. But I think it's being having an effect on the strength and firepower of BMC, because Big George Hincapie there has come off the front too and has dropped into the heart of the pack, which is indication. Now, yesterday was a most interesting day, especially about the riders' telemetry as they raced up to Mount Crested Butte, and that's presented by Training Peaks. Here's more on that now with Bob Rowe.
Very tough climb to finish off stage number 2 to Crested Butte.
I'm here with Dirk Friel, the founder of Training Peaks that studies the watts that the riders produce. What did you see on stage number 2, Dirk?
Stage 2 to Crested Butte was a doozy. Yanni Brakovic, he averaged 360 watts for the last 2 miles of this climb. That was 17 miles per hour uphill. Brutal, brutal stage, and it's just F1 racing.
And if you could say, how many watts per kilogram? What does that translate to the average club rider out there?
Yeah, Yanni did 7 watts per kilo for the last 2 miles of this climb. So if you think about that in pounds, a 170 pounder would have to produce about 550 watts, which is absolutely amazing.
How many jelly donuts can you deep fry with 550 watts for 20 minutes?
Yeah, certainly. You know, they're producing a whole lot of power out there. So yeah, for more, by the numbers, visit trainingpeaks.com.
Yes, thanks very much, Dirk and Bob. These boys are pumping out the power, and they should get some interesting figures off their computers when they get to the finish in Aspen today. You can see now the full team of Team BMC has thinned out somewhat here now. They've just got 2 or 3 riders left to drive TJ Van Garderen. The gap is continuing to be held at 2 minutes 50. Now as we climb up to Independence Pass here, that gap has got to come down. If the 2 leaders go over the top, with this sort of a gap, and he's just nudged up by 5 seconds, then there could be a different effect down there. Let's go back inside the race with Steve Perino.
Guys, behind the brake, you see what is called neutral support by Mavic, but it might not be altogether neutral. The man driving that is Marcel Van Garderen. You might recognize the name. He is the father, the leader of this race, TJ Van Garderen. He is from the Netherlands, grew up racing over there. He brought that game over here. In fact, he still races in Boulder, Colorado, and every now and again, he volunteers to do this work. He said this is only the 2nd time he's actually seen TJ in the race from inside of the race. Yesterday, when TJ won and went off at the end, he was watching right from behind, but of course, they got to pull everyone off the finish line just before they get there. He was a little disappointed not to see it. If somehow or another we see TJ charging the finish first, don't be surprised if you see someone breaking the rules this time.
Well, he is the neutral service, and of course he will service everybody without any favour, especially to TJ, I think. TJ yesterday getting his first ever professional road race win, and the reward was that Exergy yellow jersey. On the same time, though, as Christian van der Velde, who is also in this group. So both riders are here, but they both should be concerned. There's Christian van der Velde just tracking him there, and this is Marcel enjoying every bit of it. And if you're not sure of his name, that's how you spell it on his helmet there. And so TJ now a little bit concerned about the way it's going, although Dad Marcel doesn't look too worried. 12 seconds overnight, Tom Danielson. 21 seconds overnight, Colorado. They've recovered that and more, 2 minutes 55 in front. Only 2 riders here now, including the second man on the line there. That's Matthias Frank, who almost won the stage yesterday. But he was caught, and TJ finished it off, keeping the win in the team. So there we are. These are the 2 leaders as we make our way up. About 27 miles still to race as they continue up the climb of the Independence Pass. They're not only just hanging in at the moment, they are still gaining time. The beauty of Colorado here as we rejoin the action on stage 3 between Gunnison and Aspen. We've been over one big climb, the Cottonwood Pass, the highest mountain pass in the state of Colorado. We're on the lower slopes now of the more famous, I think, Independence Pass. And so far, the peloton are holding these 2. It's 2:40 is the latest gap. And Tom Danielson is the rider in the red, and Francisco Colorado from Colombia. As these 2 riders make their way up this pass, that's where we've been in the red, and we're heading through the blue now towards the top of the climb. If they can hold a lead of around 2 minutes, that could be a winning gap as they plunge down to the valley below and the beautiful little town of Aspen, Colorado. There's a view from the helicopter here, a little pan up the road. The leaders are holding their own here, but again, it's been another long day for the breakaways. They've had to be very ambitious to build leads on this bunch because Danielson had to join the leaders when they were 18, and he blew away all of them except Colorado. There is last year's winner, Levi Leipheimer, who on this stage a year ago was riding in yellow and would lose his lead on this stage before eventually going on to win the race before it finished down in Denver. So it could well be the same way for TJ Van Garderen, who was taking the lead on this stage 1 year ago. Colorado, the Colombian, but whenever our cameras pack them, it's always a case of him in second place. It's all about Tommy Danielson. And now for more on Centura Health, based right here in Colorado, here's Bob Roll again.
I'm here with Jeff Huber, the medical coordinator for the U.S. Pro Challenge from Centura Health. Tell us a little bit about the services you provide for the riders out on the race course in this year's race.
We have a medical caravan that consists of a medical motorcycle, a doc's car, 2 SAG vehicles, 2 ambulances, and a helicopter that will follow the riders along the whole course. And if there's a crash, we'll evaluate the riders and either transport them or let them carry on.
And also, Centura Health is behind the Flight to Life program here in Colorado. I've had to use that myself a couple of times, so I'm quite thankful. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Centura Health is the largest healthcare provider here in Colorado. We're also the largest hospital for trauma care within Colorado. And our Flight for Life program turns 40 years this year. It's the first air ambulance, hospital-based air ambulance here in Colorado and in the country.
Well, hopefully we'll have an uneventful week from the doctor's perspective, but thanks for being out here, and good luck on this week's racing.
Thank you very much.
Yes, well done. And for all of the people on the race, we hope never has anything to do with the medical people here who look after the riders on the road. There's the peloton. It's thinned out a little bit. It was 116 strong. So it looks as though George Hincapie-Pauli's done an enormous amount of work again, but job done. He can't do any more. This is last race. He retires at the end of this race, and I know his team are planning a party for him, but I don't think he's got any more strength in those legs today.
Well, they've had an awful lot of work to be done by BMC Racing right since the very start. They started as soon as we started on Taylor Park. They had to do a lot of pacemaking to make sure that Tommy Danielson's group didn't go too far ahead.
Different pressures there, I think, because last year George Hincapie was winning this stage into Aspen in atrocious conditions, low cloud, rain, and the first we saw George was coming up the main street as he came out of the murk and the mist. But it was a good win for him. TJ Van Garderen also taking that second place on that day. Now, tomorrow, the Epic Cycle Series continues on the NBC Sports Network with the second stage of the USA Pro Challenge. In fact, it's stage 4 tomorrow. It's still hilly, though. We go back out of Aspen and we go uphill on the Independence Pass, the way they come into the finish today. It's all tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. So the leaders now making the way up, but once you see the crowd line, you know you're making your way towards the summit, and they're going to get cheers all the way here. So they've just gone past 5 kilometres. That's 3 miles now to the summit of the Independence Pass. Tom Danielson here will feel all of these cheers are for him. He comes from Boulder in Colorado. He was educated in Durango at Fort Lewis, where this event made its start. Well, there's been no effort spared by Tom Danielson. He's made the effort to catch them, and he's done all of the work, hasn't he? And Colorado sitting right behind him. There's the race behind. It's still Team BMC. They're down to 2 soldiers pacing their leader in yellow, TJ Van Garderen. The gap is holding. It's going to be a nail-biting finish. Welcome back. Well, the rider chasing back to the peloton is in fact Christian van der Velde. And moments ago, this rider had a flat back wheel. His teammate Peter Stettner, Alex Howes rather, gave him a back wheel, and he's just pedaled his way back without any worry whatsoever. Now, this is a little bit of a chance to show you again what happened here. It was premeditated, because Christian van der Velde, number 16, got his wheel out very quickly, and they told Howes to stop, give me a back wheel, which he's done. It was a good change, actually, once he got the wheel in, and then found the right gear back on his bike, and the peloton, as you can see, not too far ahead. That was a no panic change there, And now the mechanic here is having to change the wheel of Alex House. But well premeditated change that. He must have felt the tide going down, and no big effort to get back. Pretty routine. But Christian van der Velde is back in that group. And there he is now. The old adrenaline, I think, was pumping a bit by that time, though, I would have thought. As Moreno Mosa is the rider alongside him there, number 48. So, as they continue, a nicely handled wheel change there, and at the end of the day, all routine for those two. But this is the man who is setting the pace and causing, once again, the big surprise. Now, he won't want to be reminded, caught 3 miles from the finish on day one, Tom Danielson. Is that going to happen again?
Well, I've got my fingers crossed, Phil, because this is an amazing performance he's putting in here, a very brave performance. In this day and age of professional cycling, where we're looking at seconds here and seconds there, one kind of forgets the bravado of the long solo attempt to win a bike race overall. And this is going down to the kind of move that guys like Eddie Merckx would make in the old days, trying to win a bike race from so far out from the finish, instead of calculating down to the final few centimetres.
Absolutely. This has been a really brave race for Tom Danielson again today. Just caught a glimpse then of the face of Francisco Colorado. That man is hurting, and you know he may not be with Danielson by the top of this climb.
Well, Danielson, since we started this climb here of Independence Pass, has been the man who's done all of the pacemaking. He never even turned around once to say to Colorado in second position, hey mate, come and give me a little bit of a breather at the front. But Danielson is a great climber. He's always been a great climber throughout his career. He's finished in the top 10 in the Vuelta a España on a number of occasions. And last year, I mean, I find it hard to believe that last year, after a career that started back in 2002, was the first time he'd actually been selected for the Tour de France squad.
Yes, it was a long time coming, but he certainly lived up to his chance. He finished 8th in the race. He crashed out of it this year, separated both shoulders in 2 separate crashes. Now he's got his training legs in the Tour of Utah. Now he's showing us what he can really do. We're looking for 3 kilometers to go at the moment. That's all that's left to the summit. He's sitting on nearly 2.5-minute advantage. He could be turning this race around here. Once to the top, it is a flyer all the way to the finishing line.
Well, it certainly is. Colorado, again, as he went round the corner, this is a rather strange climb because it zigzags up Independence Pass. There are times when the riders have got a slight headwind. Here, they're picking up a little bit of a tailwind, and that was why we saw the acceleration coming from Tommy Danielson, or Tommy D, as they call him. It's TJ Van Gardren's dad, by the way, on that motorbike.
Yes, Marcel is the pilot there, but he's very neutral. That's the neutral service, but he's seeing the race close up today, and his son, though, is 2 minutes and 25 seconds back in the peloton. There is a stunningly beautiful view of the Independence Pass as it's coming to its summit here, just under 12,100 feet. Danielson, I think as he gets closer, he's almost feeling the summit, and he just goes quicker.
Well, that's what he's racing for, Phil, because he knows once he's gone over the top of this mountain, it's downhill, almost downhill to Main Street, and we'll be seeing speeds of 55 miles an hour on this descent. What an incredible backdrop the state of Colorado is for a professional bike race.
And thankfully, we've got good visibility this year, unlike last year when the clouds really did come in. Forecast was around 3 o'clock today local time. It was going to happen again, but it doesn't look so. As we stay with the 2 leaders, then go and take a look at the peloton. Only 2 helpers left for TJ Van Garderen, and the rest just queuing up behind, waiting for them to falter.
Well, that's what's happening, Phil. You can see just moving up there. Chris Horner is actually moving to the wheel of Christian van der Velde, who's behind the yellow jersey of TJ Van Garderen. Waiting in the wings, though, this incredible team from Colombia. You can see them sitting right across the road in the next few positions. They are the team I think are going to be very, very dangerous over the next few stages.
Yes, the white jerseys there of this man's teammates. They're all his teammates of EPN Une there. And they're waiting. If these 2 get back, those boys are going to sprint out of the pack for sure. They're relishing their moments in the hills of Colorado now. And as it's Tommy Danielson, will soon be craning his neck to see the finish banner on the top. So as we see these 2 riders now, and the flotilla of cars behind, always a good sight to the riders. It means the field are quite a way back because they move all those vehicles out when they have to. As we now continue, this is the peloton. I think we can go back inside the race now and rejoin on the motorbike Steve Perino.
Guys, for the third day in a row, the #1 fan of cycling in the VIP cars has to go to Barry Bonds. Every time there's a stop there, Bonds is out on the edge of the road taking pictures of everyone. Apparently, his girlfriend, Mari Holden, she's the world champion from 2000s, really got him into cycling. He's a huge Pinarello bike fan, and for that reason, he's associated himself with the Bissell team. In fact, for a birthday present earlier this year, she sent him to a Bissell camp. He rode with him for 3 days. In fact, one day got in the team car when they were reconning the Tour of California. At the top of the mountain, he was there with $500 cash. First guy to the top got the money. Now, he says every time they switch gear on the Pinarello, he's got to have the new stuff. And guess who sets it up? Barry Bonds.
Well, I wonder if Barry's going to get $500 cash out here and give it to Tommy Danielson. I told you that this man was showing signs of cracking. I saw his face, and now he's unhooked here. He wants a drink as well. As we watch here now, Francisco Colorado say goodbye to Tommy D, who is now a man on a mission. It's not just to increase his lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains. He'll get 12 points very shortly at the summit. He's thinking of pulling on the extra yellow jersey at the bottom of the climb, because Aspen nestles inside the shadow of the Independence Pass. As now it looks as though already caught here. We've got a rider coming. Is that Lucas Schuser coming up from Spider Tech there? But somebody's already picked up Francisco Colorado. Now we've got no word on who that is, and we've got nothing on our computer about it. We'll check that one out in a moment. But this now, no doubt, is Tommy Danielson. He's still just under 1.5 miles to race to the summit. They have really got to close this down. Our computer always saying 2 minutes and 25 seconds. If they don't shut that down by the summit, you're looking at the next leader of the USA Pro Challenge. We'll take a break, but we'll be back for when Tommy D goes over the top. Welcome back. Well, a quick look at the USA Cycling American standings before we get back to the action. Van Garderen is on top, Van der Velde is on second, Leipheimer is fourth, Horner is eighth, and Lucas Schuser is in 10th place, just 12 seconds off TJ Van Garderen. Back to the race, and now here he is, about to add 12 points and increase his lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains competition. Tom Danielson now pushing on, looking for the summit. If he goes over the top here with a lead of about 2 minutes, then that should be enough for him to win the stage down at the bottom. Well, as he continues to climb here, it is Piemonte who has joined Colorado in the chase behind. But they are still pretty much behind. We've got no time check on where those two are who are chasing. Switching back quickly to the peloton, and there's a little look at the massive crowd which is on the summit here. It's the red banner of Nissan in the middle that will be music, I think, to Tommy Danielson. It will confirm him as a solid leader in the King of the Mountains, and then it's all downhill, Paul.
Well, all downhill for Tommy Danielson. This is a crazy scene, and I tell you what, Phil, this is a moment in cycling that you very rarely see, a long breakaway move like this.
Well, you could be coming to the top of Alpe d'Huez in the Tour de France right now as the crowd have really closed in.
In fact, Phil, through the crowd there, Tommy Danielson could hardly see the King of the Mountains point. There it is, the Nissan King of the Mountains at the top of Independence Pass.
Well, it's been an outstanding ride by Danielson today. He reached the leaders on his own. He's blown them all away, all 18 of them. And now he tops out at the top of the Independence Pass. He even waves here. Now he's got to make the descent of his life. He only has to finish downstairs with a lead of 13 seconds to take the jersey away from TJ Van Garderen.
We've got a lot more than the 13 seconds that he needs at the moment, Phil, because he's still got 2 minutes and 15 seconds. He has to fly now once we start the chases. Lucas Schuser is just about to get picked up by the front end of the main field, and it's TJ Van Garderen himself who's doing all of the pacemaking. I think, Garmin Sharp have done what they wanted to do. They've made BMC Racing crumble.
Well, it had to be in the end the yellow jersey himself that had to take over. The next rider we will see over will be Colorado, and he's with Piemonte as well. They are still clear of the field. The clock is counting as to see just what the gap will be. TJ has had to do this. As we said earlier, at the end of the day, if you're the leader of the team, you've got to show the team why. And it's now been left to Van Garderen himself to try and chase down Tommy Danielson. His whole team have been spread-eagled on the Independence Pass.
Well, the Colombians, Phil, as we get to the top of this climb, are showing us why they have the reputation of being some of the best climbers in the world. The clock is still ticking for Tommy Danielson. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds at the moment, and these scenes are unbelievable at the top of Independence Pass.
Well, I should imagine that's Casablanca there trying to get clear, because he was very close to Danielson in the King of the Mountains, but Danielson has taken the big points at the top. It's 1.5 minutes plus now since Tommy D started the plunge to Aspen. And so they're really going to have to close this down with a tremendous descent today. The Casablanca goes alone over the summit as the riders now going ones and twos over the top of the climb here. This is Chris Horner, number 31, and Rafael Infantino just in front of him as they will now start the plunge. Tommy Danielson on the way down. We can get speeds here, Paul, of over 60 miles an hour.
You certainly can, Phil. Over the first part of this descent, it is very, very technical, and that's why I have to say Tom Danielson's got a very good advantage here, because the main field will not go down this descent very much faster than him. We get a chance here from this angle here, Phil. You get a chance to see just how rapid this descent is. You know, I was talking to a friend of Taylor Finney's the other day, and on one of the descents around here in Colorado, he recorded 120 kilometers an hour. That's 75 miles an hour downhill. And Davis Finney, his dad, said, "That's my boy," but he's still not got my record yet, because Davis Finney's record at going downhill was 122 kilometers an hour, which is 76 miles an hour on those skinny little tires.
Yes, it's scary. Pumped up 4 times the pressure of an auto car tire as well. But Danielson now will be concentrating, taking the right line through every bend, pushing to his limits now, knowing quite literally here every second counts if he's going to win this race. He only needs 13 seconds at the finishing line to be the next leader of the race. At the moment, he's got plenty in hand. If the race was to stop now, he would be the leader of the race by 2 minutes and 3 seconds over both Van Garderen and Christian van der Velde, 2:09 over Ivan Rovny, and 2 minutes 11 over Rincon.
Well, you have to look over to the left-hand side every now and again, Phil, because I've got to tell you, there are no safety nets in professional cycling. You've got to make sure you get around these corners nice and safely. But these guys are concentrating. I've always thought when I watch the start of an IndyCar race or a Formula One race, how those guys must be absolutely mad to go out to the starting gate the way they do. But they don't feel that, because they're concentrated. They're thinking about the job in hand. And this man here, he won't even feel the fear that that we are experiencing just watching him go downhill this fast, because he's thinking about the line. Let's have a look there. We're just about 60 miles an hour there.
Yeah, well, it's just tickling. He's just tickling 50. Just over 50 was their speed there, but it'll get quicker as this road straightens out a little bit. These are long straights. The mountains here are long because they are much shallower in gradient than, for example, the Pyrenees or the Alps. So you can get long straights and you can really pick up the speed.
Well, that kind of profile is the ideal thing for Tom Danielson right now, because it's right downhill into the outskirts of the town of Aspen. And just to finish the thought, he's concentrating here, Phil. He's looking at the lay of the land. He's looking at the trees. He's trying to figure out how the corner that he's going to go into will unfold, and line himself up on the opposite side of the corner and go right across the apex to keep his speed as high as possible. But now he will be super motivated by the fact that he's got that 2 minutes advantage over the top of the climb.
Well, he's confirmed his lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains there. He's increased his lead, in fact, in that competition. First over the Independence, second over the Cottonwood Pass. But he wants the yellow jersey, and that's what he's looking for right now. And TJ Van Garderen is still in a group 1 minute and 3/4 behind. They are closing a little bit. This is going to be a desperate descent for TJ Van Garderen.
Well, I'm a bit surprised, because when you look at the quality of Team BMC Racing, it's a solid squad, Phil, and I wonder if they've paid for the price of doing all of that work at altitude. Of
Tommy Danielson as he goes down here now, as he looks through. All right, well, let's have a look now at our Road ID Challenge fan predictions. See who you thought would win today's stage. TJ Van Garden's got 24% of your votes, 15 for Levi Leipheimer. Has no one got any faith in Tommy Danielson? Nibali 9% and Christian van der Velde 6%. And don't forget to go over to roadid.com and make your predictions for tomorrow's stage when we come back over the pass. Well, TJ Van Garden's got a bit of work to do yet to better his second place finish in Aspen of 1 year ago. Tommy Danielson now is on a mission. He's looking for yellow. The lone figure of the race leader, Tom Danielson, now speeds away from the top of the Independence Pass. He's 45 seconds ahead of Francisco Colorado, the man he left on the way up, and 1:30 now on the peloton, which is under the impetus of the race leader, TJ Van Garderen. At the moment, Tom Danielson remains the next leader of this race on the road. Here's the peloton. There aren't many left of them now. 1 or 2 are getting back in as they chase down the mountainside, but now it's still TJ doing the work. Well, as we continue now, it is a case of Tom Danielson now just trying to hang off. The gap is coming down. It's 1.5 minutes. It's still a long way to go, Paul, as well.
It's a long descent. This is around about an 18-mile descent from the top of the climb, 30 kilometers. We're looking at 15 miles to go. That's inside of 24 kilometers of racing. And TJ Van Garderen's looking around in this group here for some friends to give him a little bit of assistance. He does not have a single teammate with him, and I'm surprised because when you look at the quality of the squad, they have crumbled because of all of the work that they did, trying to hold on to the advantage of Tom Danielson. And Danielson is riding one of those incredible days that you don't get very often in a career.
Well, all I can say is the rest has done him good. He came out of the Tour de France in the first week because of his multiple accidents, and he's had to get himself back into condition, and boy, he has done that now. He's got tremendous pair of legs today, crossing a 1-minute gap to catch the leaders, and then one by one eliminating them on the road towards Aspen. There's the long empty road ahead. We didn't get to see that last year because it was shrouded in rain and fog, but we can this year, and he's burning his way down towards Aspen now.
We'll talk about ploughing a lonely furrow. That's exactly what Tom Danielson is doing here. He is concentrated though, Phil. That's what the profile looks like. It's all downhill to the outskirts of Aspen, and then finally he'll get himself a little bit of flat, and he will want to conserve as much of that advantage as possible, because let's not forget this race finishes with an individual time trial of 16 kilometers in downtown Denver. TJ Van Garderen, as he proved at the Tour de France, is a great time trialist, and Danielson will want to have a big advantage over him before that stage.
He will, yeah, absolutely. So Tommy D, as we call him now, speeds on towards the last 14 miles of the race. It will continue to come down from the 12,000 feet above sea level to its base finish in Aspen. Welcome back. Let's have a look then at our United Healthcare race summary. Today, Jess Anthony won the opening sprint right out at the start of the day. 18 men then assembled at the front. Castiblanca won the first climb of the day up Taylor Peak, and then Colorado won the climb of the Cottonwood Pass. Zabriskie then was doing a lot of work as he passed through in Buena Vista, winning the sprint there. Tommy Danielson then went for it alone, and that's the situation at the moment. The current gap is 1:25 minutes. So they are slowly pulling him in, but I remind you, he only needs 13 seconds at the finish to become the next leader of this race. He'll want more than that because the race might swing back towards TJ Van Garderen when we go to the end of this race in Denver, where it is an individual time trial. I think TJ is a little better at that than Tom Danielson. This has been a remarkable day of racing for Tommy Danielson. He really has ridden exceptionally well. We switch back to the bunch here now. It looks as though Van Garderen himself in yellow has gone up to the head of the field again. They might be sensing they are beginning to make a little bit of progress here. There's a lot of riders from Radio Shack as well, and they're trying to put Chris Horner into a situation now. Horner is not that far off the lead himself overall. into the woods now as we drop down from the barren summit. So still Danielson now is just having to hope that there's not too much more reaction coming from that field. They're closing in. They're not much more than 1 minute behind him.
But I'll tell you one thing, Phil, Team BMC Racing are now starting to regroup because one or two of their riders have managed to take a few risks on the descent, and they've now integrated this group, which is increasing in size and increasing in numbers. That might start to tip the scales away from Tom Danielson and towards TJ Van Garderen with about 10 miles or 17 kilometers to go.
Yes, that's not a lot of time. Probably in real racing terms, about 18 minutes taking into account this long, fast descent before the finish. And Tommy Danielson still sitting on just over 1 minute. If it was to end right now, I could tell you that Tom Danielson would be 58 seconds into that yellow jersey. The same on Van der Velde. Rovny will be at 1:04. And the fifth is Rincon. So, Paul, well, we didn't think they were going to catch him yesterday, and they caught them 500 metres from the line. Are they going to bring him back today?
Well, you know, Phil, he's been in the breakaway for an awful long time on this longest of stages. He was in the breakaway on the first day when we went all the way down to Telluride, and I wonder if the fatigue will start to go against him. I would have thought at the top of the climb, I was fairly confident at 15 kilometres to go that this man was going to win, but he's actually now just slotting into my favourite horrible little recipe of 1 minute for 10 kilometers of racing. So he's just sitting on the possibility of surviving here this afternoon. It just depends how much firepower BMC Racing have got with them behind, and if any of the other teams will help them.
It is going to be an absolute breathtaker now. When they finished in Aspen last year, George Hincapie won, TJ Van Garderen was second, and Tom Danielson was third. We can discount George Hincapie, but we could have the other two going neck and neck into the finish, as Danielson on the Radio Shack tracker now goes around these sharp bends, and he's just clipping the corners off. He's searching for seconds, quite literally here.
But in the corners, that gives him the slight advantage. Once we get onto the wider, straighter boulevards, advantage goes to the main field, where riders can share the pacemaking at the front end of the pack and keep that pace as high as 80 kilometers an hour. I tell you what, these guys are going down this descent very, very rapidly indeed in the main field. For a few moments ago, it looks as if TJ Van Garderen had lost everything. It looks now as if it may well start to be turning back, because it's now just 1 minute.
15 kilometers to go, that sign said there. That was for the main field. Today they have already climbed 11,253 feet. That's how it'll stay for the rest of the day, as Tom Danielson now tries to hang on to win the day. Welcome back. Well, he's just past the 10 kilometers to go sign here, Tommy Danielson, which is just over 6 miles, and the gap is holding at just on 1 minute. Now we're looking at Tom Danielson. He's the subject today of our new Belgian beer athlete profile. As you can see now, he's 34 years of age. His hometown is East Lyme, Connecticut. He's now moved to Boulder, Colorado, and he's 4th overall in the challenge last year, 8th in his first attempt at the Tour de France last year, and now bidding today to take the yellow jersey on another occasion as we head down towards Aspen. So Tommy Danielson, he hasn't had a smile on his face all day today. It's been a grimace of effort, and what an effort this has been. An outstanding ride in the highest level of professional cycling. Looking at the Radio Shack tracker here, we're looking here at TJ Van Garderen, who's now having to take the race by the scruff of the neck and do all of the pacemaking. Well, he's got a little bit of help as he continues there. Looking at TJ in second place currently on the charge down, running out of miles though, just 6.4 miles to the finish, or 10.3 kilometers to go. It is closing in.
Well, they're going extremely fast here. We're still locked in at about 80 kilometers now. Levi Leipheimer is in this group, defending champion. Christian van der Velde is in this group. Chris Horner is in this group. All of the pre-race favorites are in this group, except one, because one man has slipped away from the race at the early part of this race, and that's Tom Danielson. If we stop the race right now, he would be in the lead by 43 seconds.
Yes, which of course is the same as Van der Velde's behind as well, because they started the day locked in the same time ahead of Tommy Danielson. It is going to be very, very close, whatever happens at the finish. The two big mountain passes today have not opened this race up. If anything, they've shut it down.
Well, that's the nature of the beast we're looking at here this afternoon. Let's not forget, Phil, tomorrow we have a mountain top finish. Then there's another mountain top finish when we go down into Boulder, because we don't actually finish in Boulder, sadly, for the riders. They actually go into Boulder and finish on a big climb outside of the city.
Yes, that's the race tomorrow, heading to Beaver Creek tomorrow as the riders go down here. And Nissan on the jersey, he's increased his lead in the King of the Mountains competition right now. And the peloton are well organised, but there's an awful lot of passengers here freewheeling their way to Aspen. Everybody putting the pressure on TJ Van Garderen. They may not crack him today, but the energy he's using to try and keep his yellow jersey, well, he may crack a couple of days down the road. You never know.
Well, it's putting a lot of psychological pressure onto his shoulders. He's had a fairly reasonable ride throughout the race here this afternoon, because for the majority of the race he was surrounded by a very strong BMC racing team. Now it's down to him to do what he can to preserve his jersey, but even if he doesn't recover the jersey today, as long as he keeps the gap sensible, he could still win this race overall.
It's absolutely true, as we're now looking at Gunnison desperately flying to the finish. Now Sunday, the IZOD IndyCar Series continues on the NBC Sports Network. Will Power looks to remain dominant along the streets of Infineon Raceway. It's the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, Sunday at 4 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. Now, will this man make it, or will he be caught? Just who is going to win this stage as they close in on him now? The gap is 50 seconds. We'll take a break, and when we return, we will take Tom Danielson or the group all the way to the line. And that's where we're headed now, to Aspen, Colorado. It is an absolute nail-biter now. They're saying 30 seconds is the gap, and Tom Danielson is about 2.5 miles from the finish, and he knows they're coming. The work being done by this group here is enormous, or should I say the work being done by TJ Van Garderen is enormous. As we continue down here now, the lonely figure is beginning to put the Independence Pass behind him, but they are coming at a tremendous speed behind them now.
No, we're inside of 5 kilometers to go. They've pulled all of the referees out. They've pulled all of the neutral service vehicles out from behind Tom Danielson, because the race referees now, Phil, think this could all come back together inside the final few meters.
Well, they're trying to make it an absolutely fair finish here. Tommy Danielson now has gone through 3 kilometers to go, less than 2 miles to the finish. It is desperate. He must win by 13 seconds to win the yellow jersey.
Well, it's down to 20 seconds. If he loses 7 more seconds, his chance of getting the yellow jersey is out of the window this afternoon. The 3 kilometer to go sign as well for the main field. It's 16 seconds the gap now.
16 seconds, 3 more, and he won't be the leader of the Tour, but can we get him on to win the stage? Because this has been a terrific effort by Tom Danielson today. He crossed the gap on his own on the Cottonwood Pass, bridged more than a minute to the leaders, eliminated them one by one. Surely he's not going to be caught now before the finish.
Well, I think he is, Phil, because now that they've started to see that gap tumble, they now realise that forget about TJ Van Garderen and burying him and his yellow jersey. These other teams are now starting to think about a victory. They're thinking about the stage victory, which if they can pull back the lone leader, Tom Danielson, they can get it. Let's have a look now as we go back from the helicopter. We can get a chance to see what the situation is. There is the lone leader, followed there just by a couple of motorbikes, and there was briefly the front end of the main field.
They actually saw the tail of Tom Danielson in that head-on shot to just go over the brow of the hill. They know they are very, very close, and it caused Matthias Frank to jump out of the saddle and try and accelerate the chase as well. As they now continue into the outskirts of Aspen, we are running into the last 2 kilometers of the day. Tom Danielson knows that they are coming. Can he hang in?
Well, he's got around about 15 seconds left of what was 2 minutes advantage at the top of Independence Pass. We're looking to see where the chasers are. I'm telling you, Phil, they're not very much more than 200 meters behind him. He's into this tunnel of noise now. The crowd that have turned out to see what has been a magical battle over Independence Pass. The main field in the same corner.
There's lots of switchbacks in town now, constantly changing direction as we have a little tour of Aspen here before he finds the finishing line. You can see the crowd. He is now at the Nissan Electric Leaf. 1 kilometre to go. 1,000 metres. Paul, this is a carbon copy of yesterday at Mount Crested Butte when they caught the leader half a kilometre from the line.
Well, he's still holding on. There's the main field now through that same point on this course here this afternoon. They may well not catch him as long as he's got just a little bit more firepower in his legs. I don't think he's going to get the yellow jersey here this afternoon, but he very much could just hold on for a few metres to get himself the victory.
He only wanted 13 seconds at one stage. He had 14 minutes and they're on the tail of him. He's just got to lift it here to at least get something out of an incredible day of racing. He's looking for the finish. He's about 450 from the line.
His legs are crying at this moment for the pain to stop. He looks over his shoulder. He's got to find the main fielder coming back very, very quickly indeed to try and get to Tom Danielson. He's hugging the barriers, trying to get a little bit of respite from the wind as the main field are waiting for the moment to pounce.
Well, the sprint is beginning to be opened at the back of him here. Don't sit up now because it's a two-handed salute if they catch you. As he comes up to the line, he gets the victory, and by a second or two, a little bit of upset. I think it's Bassano who's come over in second there. But that was a great finish. Sadness, yes, for Tom Danielson that he didn't get the yellow jersey, but he has won the stage, and that at least he deserved.
That is an amazing performance, Phil. You know, that was a class ride. That was bravado. But what about the yellow jersey? What a performance by this 24 years of age.
Absolutely.
He never panicked. He used his teammates, and he doesn't even look as if his feathers are ruffled.
Absolutely. A brilliant finish also by TJ Van Garderen, because he shed his teammates. In the end, he owed a vote of thanks to Matthias Frank for the work he did in those last 2 or 3 kilometres. But he lives to fight another day in that yellow jersey. That was one of the most outstanding rides, and congratulations to Tommy Danielson there by TJ Van Garderen.
Well, he deserved to win. I honestly thought he was going to get caught right in the final few metres, but that's payback time. There's Matthias Frank, number 22. Thanks very much. That's why you have to have a solid team around you.
Yeah.
Those 2 riders today, they saved their yellow jersey, but hats off to Tommy D.
Well, he's pretty happy, even though inside he'd be a little disappointed he never got the yellow jersey, but he's had a terrific day out today.
But again, Phil, let's not forget, it's all about the accumulation of fatigue. Christian van der Velde, who lies in exactly the same time as TJ Van Garderen, has had an easy ride today, and we've still got a lot of mountains to come.
Yes, we're going back up the road. They just descended down tomorrow as we climb away from Aspen. As Tommy Danielson just wants a little bit of peace and quiet moment to recompose himself after that incredible chase down there from the dizzy heights of over 12,000 feet. He's now in Aspen. It's his first win of the year, in fact, for Tommy Danielson. He's back to his winning ways because he hasn't won a bike race since 2009.
Yeah, that was a time trial in the Tour of Burgos in Spain. But he has won a stage in the Grand Tour. He won a stage in the Vuelta a España a couple of years ago. But Phil, I think even this he will cherish more than a victory in that Grand Tour, because this was a very, very special way to win.
It was a star ride, a top professional class ride that was today, and such a hard way to win a race today, having to cross the gap on your own. I was surprised that BMC didn't react when he made his move on the Cottonwood Pass, as Alex Howes comes in and gives him congratulations as well.
Well, Alex Howes was a big team man this afternoon, because he swapped wheels with Christian van der Velde when van der Velde was in a spot of bother on Independence Pass with a flat tyre. But TJ Van Garderen, he rode sensibly, the team rode sensibly. I think they realised they didn't want to chase after Tommy Danielson because they wanted to keep the team as solid as possible, as many riders in their numbers as they could for the distance between Cottonwood Pass and Independence Pass down towards the end.
Let's have a look again at how he survived here. He needed 13 seconds over the field, and he would have pulled on the yellow jersey.
Well, he didn't even have time, or maybe didn't even have the energy, Phil, when he got to the finishing line to give it to Salute. He stopped the clock at that point, but you could see that the excitement and the pleasure on his face. I think the time gap there was about 5 or 6 seconds. Not enough.
No, not enough. It's just half of what he needed, but at least he was allowed to win the stage. It would have been a travesty if he'd have been caught just before that finishing line. There he is, saluting a wonderful sporting crowd here in Aspen.
A huge crowd as well, I have to say. They were very passionate, very patient, waiting for the race to finish this morning. And he goes past the VIP section there. Congratulations from everybody here in Aspen to Tommy Danielson, the man we used to call the Durango Kid.
Yes.
But nowadays, he lives in Boulder.
That's right, which is not just down the road, but at least in the same state. So he's now received the congratulations. He's a very happy man, and it's a good day in the end because he's increased his overall lead in the Nissan King of the Mountains. So I think we can have a look at the United Healthcare standings here. Tom Danielson getting in the end by 2 seconds over Caruso. I think that was a little ungenerous. 2 seconds on Fulsang, and Gavin Manning, again, another good ride for the youngster on Bontrager in 4th. Yanis Brakovic there in 5th. Everybody 2 seconds back. 3rd, the Radio Shack. Ivan Rovny keeps his high overall standing as well. Van der Velde at 2 seconds. He'll still be locked on time with TJ Van Gardner. Top 10 completed there by Chris Baldwin. So, as they usher the riders round behind the area and get ready for the prize presentations, as the crowd now enjoy life here, they've seen a great ride, one of the epic performances by a bike rider from Boulder, Colorado. We'll wrap everything up when we come back after this. Yes, we've been on the dizzy heights today. We've seen an incredible stage, and this is one of our GoPro aerial images here around the high mountains of the state of Colorado. How on earth he got there, I can't tell you, but I hope he allows time to get down because it's only about 3.5 hours before dark. Let's have a look then at our Road ID ride of the day.
Well, we talk about what an incredible ride of the day. It's got to go to Tom Danielson here this afternoon. He rode away from the main field on Cottonwood Pass and joined a leading breakaway of 18 riders. And then on Independence Pass, he decided he would solo, and he only held on to the finish.
Well, that was our Road ID ride of the day. Don't forget to head on over to roadid.com/ride. Submit your prediction of who will win tomorrow's stage. Well, the yellow jersey does not stay with TJ Van Garderen. It will pass, in fact, to Christian Van der Velde. They are equal on time at the finish. They are equal on positions at the finish on countback. And so it was down to who finished ahead of the other. And Christian Van der Velde finished in front of TJ Van Garderen. Now, more on that. Let's go to Bob Roll and TJ.
TJ, a little bit of a controversial decision at the finish line, even though you finish on the same time as Christian Van der Velde, because he had a higher placing on the stage. He gets the yellow jersey. What are your feelings about that?
I mean, it doesn't really change much. I mean, fine, you know, their team can control tomorrow, like, sure, but I don't know, the thing that I think is a little strange is I looked at the pictures from yesterday and it looked like there was a bit of a gap between me and Christian, so I don't know. I think it was kind of strange they gave us the same time, but you know, whatever. It does. Who's in yellow on Sunday is what counts.
And after so much hard work on today's stage, were you ever worried that Tom Danielson, a rider of that caliber, had such a big advantage at any point?
Yeah, I was. I mean, at first I was sitting behind my team, pretty comfortable, keeping him in a good gap. But then Tom rode amazingly up Independence, and we had a hard time really pulling him back. So. And then I had to pull a lot myself on going down Independence. It was hard. I was definitely worried.
Well, he's probably right. There was definitely a seconds gap yesterday at Mount Crested Butte, but the judges are in charge, and this man is now the new leader, Paul, Christian Van der Velde, and he's a popular boy as well.
No, he certainly is. 36 years of age from Illinois, and he will be a solid leader with a solid team around him over the next couple of days.
So he salutes the crowd here. His father, John Van der Velde, is here as well. Let's have a look then at the United Healthcare overall standings. Same time still, Van der Velde, Van Garderen. It was a question of who finished in front of the other in Aspen today. Got yellow. No change in amongst the rest. Rodney stays third, Leipheimer fourth, Rincon fifth. Further down, Tom Damenschel gets 2 seconds today, so he comes up to 6th place overall. Caruso in 7th, top 10 completed by Lucas Yusa. Let's go back to Bob Roll because he's now with Christian.
Christian, new race leader, but on the same time as TJ Van Garderen, the former leader, because of the placing on the stage. Had a rider at the pretty prodigious breakaway going on. Take us through your day today.
That was just we wanted to keep, like I said yesterday, just keep on pressure on the race, and we put 2 guys up in the breakaway. And then at the bottom of Cottonwood, I threw the young and Lachlan off the front, and I actually went just to cause a reaction. And then I told Tom, once that comes back, you go, man. And that was it. And he just went and he flew up to the break, and Dave Zabriskie buried himself. And man, I was scared. I thought he was gonna get caught at the end, and I was gonna cry for him. But I didn't even, in all honesty, I didn't even think about the yellow jersey. I was just sprinting, trying to stay out of trouble. And TJ had done so much work, so he's a little bit farther behind.
Was it an advantage for you to have 3 riders up the road so you could sit on the wheels and follow the BMC chase?
Always. You always want to put those guys under pressure, and they have such a great team that the only way you're going to do that is by going early and often. So that's what we did, and it was beautiful stage. I mean, Tom Danielson was an absolute animal today, and Zabriskie was 3rd day in a row in the breakaway, burying himself. So yeah, I mean, from top to bottom, I'm really proud of this team. It's probably one of the best races we've ever done as a team. It's been great so far.
Well, congratulations on the yellow jersey, and best of luck in the stages to come.
All right, thank you.
Yes, terrific riding. Let's go back to the podium as Tom Danielson comes on as the stage winner. He joins Jakob Fuglsang, who was 3rd, and Damiano Caruso, who has finished 2nd.
A little memory there of the Independence Pass, I would think, for Tom Danielson. He's going to be very, very happy with that victory today, because to win the way he did, Phil, on your own is a very special thing to do.
So congratulations all round there. Tom Danielson really worked hard for the victory today. He tried to get yellow, but a tremendous result for him. And as we look out across the Rocky Mountains here around Colorado, we'll just see he's gone. I hear Tom's just been caught by Bob Roll behind the podium. Let's go back to Bob.
Tommy, the long breakaway almost always gets caught. What was going through your mind in the closing miles when the peloton was breathing down your neck?
Oh, that was just nasty. I mean, going over the top with like 2 minutes 40 or 2 minutes, I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, this is gonna be difficult. I was hoping for tailwind. I'm like, please tailwind, and it was headwind. And I'm 61 kilos headwind by myself. I had a couple corners I could dice it. I was hoping for rain. I was like, thunderstorm, hail, something please, and just a big headwind. So I had to really grit it out. I had to think of my wife, Stephanie. I had to think of my baby, Stevie D. I had to think of Stella. I had to think of everyone out there, and I was just like, I'm gonna win this race. You know, like, I haven't won a race like properly since 2005 Tour of Georgia, top of Brasstown Bald, or 2006 or something. I was like, I'm gonna win this thing, and I'm proud. Give me a kiss.
Well, forgive me for laughing, but well done, Tommy Danielson there. Yes, he's won time trials, but he's talking of a real road race, and that must have felt really good, hanging on to the end. All right, well, let's go now to the map, Evolved Beverages stage map. Paul, we're going back up the mountain again.
Well, Tommy Danielson used the word nasty. Well, this is a nasty way to start the next stage of the USA Pro Challenge, because straight out of the starting blocks over Independence Pass, the way they came down this afternoon, they go back up it, then into the valley. But this stage, a short stage of 96 miles of racing, is a sting in the tail, because they finish at the summit of Beaver Creek at 8,000 feet.
Yes, a real tough day again tomorrow. Tune in tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern for the 2012 USA Pro Challenge recap show on the NBC Sports Network. And don't miss stage 4 tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern as the cyclists head from Aspen to Beaver Creek right here on the NBC Sports Network. So the race goes on. It's stage 4 tomorrow. For a full schedule and race highlights, log on to NBCSports.com. And for all race information, log on to ProChallenger.com. All our great clothing here provided by Phil Zurich congratulations to our winner today, Tom Gunnison. Stay tuned for Embassy Sports Talk. That's up next. For now, it's goodbye from Aspen.